Ang nakayata kay nayakatan. Ang nakakatay kay kay nakakatay ay nayatakan. Ang nakayata kay nakatan.
Ang nakayatak kay nayatakan, ang nakakatay kay nakatayan, kay nakakatay ang nayatakan, ang nakayatak kay nakatayan.
Ang nakayatak kay nayatakan, ang nakakatay kay kay nakatay ang nayatakan, ang nakayatak kay nakatayan.
Anakku. Dinhi.
Sige ha.
Karon
Kanon na iya.
mismo.
Ay.
Maayong buntag datong tanan. Pamgras de Cebu Heritage Hotel, in partnership with the Tres de Abril Foundation Incorporated, ArtCebu, and the 𝗪𝗏 2020, celebrate with you this month our local and national languages. So this event, welcome to this event today, this hybrid event this morning. So for the first time, we have our event in the morning. Usually we have our events in the afternoon. So we understand why our on-site audience are not yet, most of our on-site audience that we expect are not yet here, but they are on their way, they said. So daghang salamat to those online and on-site. So please, to those online, please share this event page. So today, this morning, we are having this event, this very fun, exciting, and stimulating event entitled Gigawsan, Poetic Inspiration, Perspiration, and Climax. And it is an event featuring a multi-awarded poet, multi-awarded Cebuano poet. May you show our poster, please? So we have this event, Gigawsan, Poetic Inspiration, Perspiration, and Climax. And you would see that the image that you see there is an image of a naked chicken. So we wonder why usually this is called in English dressed chicken, but then it has no dress because it is undressed. It has no more feathers. In Bisaya, walay balhibo, or kung if you pluck or you pluck out the feathers of a chicken, it becomes, you would say, gihimulbulan, right? So gihimulbulan ang manok. So right now, according to our poet, the poet that we feature today, he was the one who provided us this quotation. A person writing poetry is no different from a naked chicken. So right now, today, our poet will be naked. Our poet, mahibulbulan ang atong poet karon. So so I would like to, I can't see yet our I can't see yet our audience. So please write the hashtag Gigawsan, or hashtag Adonis Durado, or hashtag Cebuano Poetry. Pwede ma-share sa akong page? So, akong account, pwede ma-share sa mga pages. So, thank you very much for joining us. So, today or this month, we are also celebrating the National History Month. So, if you have seen the Pamgras de Cebu Heritage Hotel page, you would see that we featured a family of a historian, or a history researcher, Mars Bascon. You would see him with his daughter and his wife reading a book about Leon Kilat, and it is said there that where every room tells a story. So here at Pamgras, history is celebrated not just this month, but every day, or 24/7, and 365 days in a year. We celebrate history every day, and not just this month. And also, this month is also the National Language Month. So can we see our so we have also we can see the images at our Facebook page, but we can see it here on the site. So we are celebrating the History Month and also the Language Month. So we celebrate our local, our indigenous, and our national languages this month. And of course, the theme for this, may we show back our poster for the Language Month. So there is a theme for this that it should be, the theme is that the languages should be able to promote peace and inclusive progress. So that's the theme for pwede na ba show ato kuan? Dili ba show diri? Naa sa kuan, we show sa kuan sa page or sa Facebook account. So thank you very much to those who are joining us online. So we have the theme language na tangtang, language that promotes peace and progress. So, maglisod ta og show dire on site. So, of course, we would also be celebrating the last week of this month, the National Heroes Day. So we also celebrate at the last week of this month, the National Heroes Day. And also, we are also celebrating, we would be celebrating the International Day of the World's Indigenous Peoples. So thank you very much once again to those on site and online. We have here with us Redemptorist brother, brother Carl Gaspar. Thank you very much. And we have also, I thank you very much to those the religious who like this event. I saw that we had a Carmelite brother also who liked this event, and also we also have an OFM who reacted to like this event. Thank you very much for being so open-minded, especially with the title of the event, because there were also comments regarding the title that says that it's very scandalous and it's pornographic. So of course, we would be discussing this the why this title is chosen. We would discuss that in a while. So thank you very much to the DepEd Taguig City and Pateros for joining us. So we will try our best to translate our Bisaya and Cebuano poetry for you. So thank you very much for lobbying and patronizing and being an advocate of Cebu and Visayan heritage, even if you are in Luzon. So thank you very much to Apagaw, Ferdinand Aparticio, tumutunghay mula sa sangay ng paaralan sa lungsod ng Taguig at bayan ng Pateros Tapat. And also to our heritage advocate, Ferdinand Ascaraga. And Ferdinand is the one who made a replica of the Visayan Patanaw earrings that I am wearing right now. And this is still available at our Sidugatan Gifts from Cebu. Is this still available? Yes, this is available. So this is a replica of the gold earrings, but this is brass. This is now brass sheets with gold, 24 karat gold plate. This 24 karat gold plating. So thank you very much to Ferdinand. Thank you very much to the two Ferdinand. So they were named in honor of Ferdinand Magellan. But they are advocates of Visayan and Cebu heritage and Filipino heritage. So thank you very much to beautiful work. So according to Ferdinand Pagao, beautiful work of arts, the Patanaw earrings. So of course, Patanaw comes from the word tanaw or to look. So the woman who wears these earrings would want the people to look at the earrings, because according also to our historians and artists who studied pre-colonial art and the pre-colonial aesthetics, the the pre-colonial people always wanted to make as a show their attire, and when they when they go out of their house, it is always a show. So, so thank you very much also to our readers, our students from the Cebu Normal University, who is here. Your course is Filipino BS Education. So they are future educators on Filipino. Daghang salamat. Maraming salamat. Daghang salamat for joining us and for volunteering to be reading some of our featured poets works. So also we invite you to our future events. So this is now the introduction as we wait for other readers. And also, thank you very much to Janet Diego of from Aguho Elementary School, from SDO Tapat, also from Taguig City and Pateros. So next week, we invite you again to our event, Babay sa Balak, the women in pre-colonial to modern Visayan poetry. So we will have, on that day, we will have former Cebuano Study Center Director, Dr. Erlinda Alburo as our panelist. And she is an author of these books on Visayan arts and uh, Visayan literature and arts and history. And Dr. Erlinda would be telling us about the women in poetry from pre-colonial times. And to tell us about the women in poetry in contemporary, in modern poetry would be Carla Kimsing, a former instructor at the University of the Philippines, Cebu, and she is now based in Europe. And she was also the former chair of the Bathalad, an organization of literary artists in Cebu. So Carla Kinsing, and she is also an author of poetry collections. So she will be one of our panelists. So Dr. Erlinda will be here on site, and Carla Kim Sing will be online because she is based in Europe. So another exciting event this September, that would be next month, September 9, we will have archaeologist Dr. John Peterson, an urban planner, architect Joseph Michael Espina. This is a very exciting event as we trace the lost waterways of Spanish time Cebu. And this is Naughan. If today we are Gigawsan, on September 9, we will be Naughan because on September 9, we would be tracing those waterways. There is an 1873 map that indicated that there are creeks, rivers in Cebu that are no longer around today. Those are those creeks and 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 rivers. Did they dried up? Did they dry up? Were they lost? Or were they covered up? So what is its impact? What was the impact of these waterways in pre-colonial Cebu or in Spanish time Cebu? I remember my grandfather who was telling us that they escaped from the Spaniards through the esteros of Colon. So a boat could sail through the esteros of Colon in the Spanish period. So asa naman aron, can we still ride a boat through the, where are the esteros now? Where during na lang sa mga rainy season, there are people who would suggest to have boats on the streets of Colon. So that would be September 9, another exciting event where we would trace the lost waterways of Spanish time Cebu. And of course, on September 22, that would be the anniversary of our Hardin Dagami roof deck, named in honor of a warrior in 1565 who defied Miguel Lopez de Legazpi and cut off the head of the assistant of Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, and he led the Dagami revolt in 1565 to 1567. That's why we named our roof deck bar in honor of him, we have 𝗪𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗪. So on September 22, on the anniversary of the opening of 𝗪𝗙𝗪𝗪, we would be discussing the pre-colonial warfare in the Visayas. And we will have on-site University of the Philippines Diliman Department of History Professor Vicente Villan. He is a resource person, especially in the quincentennial celebrations, and he is from Panay, and he was with us in a discussion about the tattoos also during the anniversary of the Gami, and also the Gami opening. And also we will have on that day the curator of the Cagayan de Oro Museum, who would tell us about the warfare in indigenous peoples in Mindanao, the methods of warfare of indigenous peoples in Mindanao. So, Karon, so we have thank you very much to those Sobi Wing from Vancouver, Canada. So thank you very much, Sobi, for joining us as we discuss, I know you're just starting to study Cebuano, and so we will have Cebuano poetry this morning, and we try our best also to give the English translation. So thank you very much to the Visayan Culture page for always supporting and advocating for Visayan culture. And thank you to 𝗪𝙗𝙗𝙗 Masinag from Zamboanga. Buenos dias from Zamboanga City. Buenos dias, 𝗪𝙗𝙗𝙗. So 𝗪𝙗𝙗𝙗 is naming herself or himself. I don't know. Is this herself or himself for a Visayan deity, the Visayan deity, the God or goddess of the sun, 𝗪𝙗𝙗𝙗. So 𝗪𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗 is a deity of the Visayans. Thank you very much, 𝗪𝙗𝙗𝙗𝙗, for naming yourself in honor of a Visayan deity. So we are always so excited and inspired whenever we see young people advocating our culture, our Visayan culture, our Filipino culture, and also especially honoring our heroes. So, karon, so dili na ta maglangan. So, of course, I would like you to know that our featured poet this morning he is a multi-awarded poet. He was the recipient of the President's Award for Society for News Design. Also, aside from being a poet, he is also a visual journalist by profession, and he has bagged more than 100 international honors for his design. He was awarded the Cebuano Study Center's 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 Prize in 2002. He also won the 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 Prize in the year 2000. He has a Vicente Ranudo Literary Excellence Award in 2019. He was also awarded by the National Commission for Culture and the Arts in 2017 for Writer's Prize. And he is a finalist in the 2019. His book, Pahinungod sa 𝗪𝗙𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪 this book. Pahinungod sa 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪�ึ may not concern. This is a finalist in the 2019 International Book Awards. And he is an author of 5 poetry collections, and most recently is the Ang Nakayatak kay Nayatakan, and also the first, so this is his latest collection, Ang Nakayatak kay Nayatakan, who steps upon is stepped upon. And also his first collection is this, Dili Tanang Matagak Mahagbong, not everything, not all that drops falls. And it is in this collection. So this is in this collection is the very popular poem Balaki Kuday Samtang Gasakay Taghabal-habal, or in English, recite to me a poem, babe, while we're on this fucking ride. And would you know, I will just tell you a bit about that poem that Adonis wrote that poem when he was riding a habal-habal going to a mountain area when he was still a student, as a student journalist, researching about, getting story about the situation of the poor farmers in the mountain areas of Cebu. So that's how he was able to write that poem. So of course, balak dili tanang matagak mahagbong. Also this, he also, the poetry collection, he also has this. The second is minugbo. Minugbo alang sa mga mugbo ug kalipay, shorts for the short joy. So, para gid sa mga mugbo. So, para ni sa mga mugbo, minugbo para sa mga mugbo ug kalipay. Shorts for the short joy, and also the third collection. This is launched here. This was launched here at Pamgras, the Cebu Heritage Hotel, 𝗪𝙧 Sabugan. And this has many also very intriguing poetry or poems. So you should read this book. I was so shocked when there was a poetry reading of one of the poems, and it was 𝗪𝗏𝗄𝗏, already an award-winning actress. She was one of the readers of one of the poems here, and the poem she read was Bisong. And she was shouting about Bisong, and it was echoing here at the hall, and it's Bisong. And then it's a poetry about, of course, the woman. So also, the last is this, ang nakayatak kay nayatakan. So this is his, oh no, this is ang pahinungod sa diing tungdan. Pahinungod sa to whom it may not concern, or pahinungod sa di hingtungdan. This is his fourth poetry collection. And the last is ang nakayatak kay nayatakan. So this has poetry that tells about what he experienced in different parts of the world, especially the social issues, and also, of course, the relationship between a man and a woman. So, ang nakayatak kay natakan. So please help me welcome. So we have here, we are so happy, and it is our pleasure to have with us this morning our multi-awarded poet. My classmates would describe his poetry as demonyo. So please help me welcome. He is at 10 p.m. now, in 10 p.m. at nighttime in Ohio. He is based in Ohio right now. Please help me welcome our Bisaya Cebuano poet, Adonis Durado.
May buntag diha sa Sugbo, may gabi idre sa US, o siguro mas safer moingon nga maayong adlaw sa mga nanaw sa lain-laing parte sa kalibutan. So thank you so much sa pag-imbitar ani nga event.
Daghang salamat, Adonis. So actually we invite our audience, our on-site and online audience. By the way, I forgot to introduce myself. I am Agrippina, your host in our monthly or twice a month heritage events here at Pamgras, the Cebu Heritage Hotel. So we actually, the format of our event this afternoon, I mean this morning, so I'm used to having the event in the afternoon. So our format is a question and answer. So usually we have our events, our panelists would be answering questions from me. Also, those are prepared questions. So right now we have asked people to ask questions for our featured poet, Adonis Durado. So we have about 5 questions from our online, and there are questions, written questions, and there is also recorded questions. And we would also invite our audience here to ask their questions for Adonis. So according also to Adonis, there have been so many messages for him asking him the meaning of his poetry. So right now, this is the chance to ask him, because he usually does not reply to questions like what does what is the meaning of the poem that he wrote. So,
Lisod na good to bagon kay ako na gani nagsuwat niya, ako pag mo explain kung sa'y meaning, di ba?
Adonis said nga, it's very hard for him that he is the one who wrote his poetry, then he would still be the one to explain it. So I also remember Dr. Rizil Mujares, our national artist for literature, when I asked him, Dr. Rizil, is it possible for you to be the one to discuss about your book, The War Against the Americans? And then he said, maybe someone else can discuss that because I was the one who wrote it. Maybe someone else can read it and explain it. So, pareha yun yung mga artist dons. I wrote it, so you explain it. You explain it based from your own in your own interpretation. So I actually we would like to show you before we would read the first poem. We would like to share with you this award-winning song because there was a time in 2018 actually that I wanted a jingle for Pamgra. So I also write poetry. I also write poems. I also am the lyricist of most of Pamgra songs about heritage, love, and history. But then my video creator, our video creator here at Pamgras told me, we want the lyrics of Adonis. We don't your poetry is good, but then I want a demonyo poetry. So it was because during one of our gatherings of our classmates in Mascom, here at Pamgras, we had a gathering, we have a video K gathering. And I could not carry a tune, so yabag man kay ko. So I read the poem of Adonis, and my classmates like it so much, the poem about balaki ko day samtang nagsakay tag habal-habal. Idatul pagsamot ka ng imong dughan, ngari sa akong buko-buko, para mabatyagan ko ang tinagubtob sa imong kasing-kasing. Memorize na ako doon sa, and katong ang mga balili nga naghalok sa atong mga tiil, isipon tang kagaulingo na to mga dila. Did you know that Adonis wrote this when riding a habal-habal in a dried up river going to the mountain areas in Cebu, researching about the situation of the poor farmers in the mountain areas of Cebu. So, and this has become a very popular poem. And then, katong the poem, and then my classmates, Dons, were translating it right away into English. So, I just learned that the balaki ko day something sakay taghabal-habal has the translation by, is it by Merly Alunan that says, recite to me a poem, babe, while we're on this fucking ride. So you would see that poem here in this book, Dili Tanang Matagak Mahagbong, and all the poems of Adonis also has an English translation. So that was why my classmates asked that it should be Adonis who will write the jingle for Pamgras. So the message of the poem would be, if you hear the song, you would feel Cebuano love and experience Cebu's history and heritage in the song. And we submitted it to the Cebu Pop Music Festival. And we also asked a young rap artist to write the rap version of that for that song. So, and this won the grand prize of the Cebu Pop Music Festival, 39th Cebu Pop Music Festival, huni sa kasing-kasing category. And so this is the song. Now, when I first read the title, Hugot Pasuot, I was so scandalized also. Tighter than thought. So this is the song.
Paminawa, kaning litanya, kabahining bisda kung atong paghigugma. Para buyag, kasing-kasing kiat. Para buyag, aptik pa ni Leon Kilat. Pagpanggaho gahit paspuso sa larsyan. Muhumok, igbahog sabaw sa linarang. Humukog ilong, tanalaag tas kulon. At tuon, tadapit nga makasaysayon. Lapik sa dila, ugrot siya sa pulong. Dugan mo siguradong makumong-kumong. Hugot pa suot, hugot pa suot. Hugot pa suot.
Bahalag saging, basta labing. Bahalag buwan, basta tupad. Bahalag tuyo, basta video. Bahalag inamos, basta langgakon. Bahalag hilaw, basta ikaw. Bahalag korne, basta perme. Bahalag lanay, basta tanday. Bahalag dukot, basta lang hugot. Hugot pa suot, hugot pa suot. Kasing-kasing kapuno sa kahimuon. Huot pas hugot, huot pas hugot. Ikaw akong forever, wala'y magbuot. Hugot pas huot, hugot pas huot. Bisag ipadpad man sa tumang kalimot. Huot pas hugot, hugot pas hugot. Sa dalan kulon kita mag-abot. Bahalag piit basta sikit. Bahalag magumos basta lang timos. Bahalag mo luong basta mo haom. Bahalag di makaya basta kita.
Di ka biyaan, tuura jud nako. Murag General Maxilom ni kon mo plano. Para ni mo makipatay ko pareho. Sa Cebuanong katipunerong si Alejo. Maglisod ko kaon kung di tadungan. Ang imong istorya murag musika sa dungan. Bisag kinsa nga babae, di ti ka ilisan. Kaya nga akong gugma, solid pa sa katipunan.
Hugot pas huot, hugot pas huot. Kasing-kasing kapuno sa kahimuon. Huot pas hugot, hugot pas hugot. Ikaw akong forever, wala'y magbuot. Hugot pas hugot, hugot pas hugot. Bisag ipadpad man sa tumang kalimot. Huot pas hugot, huot pas hugot. Sa dalan kulon kita mag-abot. Sa dalan kulon kita mag-abot. Sa dalan kulon baya ang sabot.
Congratulations to Adonis Durado and Aster, and of course to Pamgras, the Cebu Heritage Hotel, for producing that song. So it is Hugot Pasuot, so that's your love. What is more, if you would ask Andres Bonifacio, Adonis was actually quoting Andres Bonifacio in the to promote that song. What is, anong pag-ibig pa ang hihigit kaya gaya ng pag-ibig sa tinubuang lupa? What is the love that is more noble and pure than the love for the motherland? So may we show Adonis? So we have Adonis here. So that is congratulations Adonis for that award-winning song and lyrics, the Demonyo lyrics that was awarded with a grand prize. And then my classmates are also debating, even my teacher in college, if we should produce that song, because one of them was saying heritage should not be attributed to anything sexual. So anyway, we have this, Adonis, we have this question for you about what triggers you to write a poem. But before that, I would like to read for you this song by Adonis, this poem by Adonis, and this is in the collection Lisay sa Bugan. And we would have later to read the English translation of this poem. A student from the Cebu Normal University, Diosdado Surigao. He is a Filipino BS Education in Filipino from Cebu Normal University. From Cebu Normal University. Daghang salamat to their teacher, Dr. Lita Bacalia, for sending them to us here to read the English translation of this poem. We will have him, but we would show him later when he would read this. So this is the poem. Kung muotog ang balak. Ang balak kung muotog, di magsaba. Daw may kaugalingong huna-huna. Di kini mananghid kung musaludar, ngadto sa kalabong sa panganod, ngadto sa gaugdong kabungturan, ngadto sa liki sa bugan sa pangpang. Usahay, mutuskig lang kini og tuyo, ug di mo ilag, dapit o panahon. Kung muotog kini, hala, muotog kini, bahalag di bilangkaran sa higayon. Oh, pakpak sad mo din pakpak. Kung muotog ang balak, unsa man ni adult content na taani. So, kung muotog ang balak, muotog gid na, di na mananghid, dili bisag way mo bilangkad, muotog gid ng balak, di ba? So, this is now for those not Bisaya, this is now we try to see if this has the Bisaya words would be lost in translation, but this is the English translation by kang kinsa ni, kang Anthony Quintanar or Heidi Palapar or Anthony Quintanar. So I'm not sure who these Lisay Sabugan are. The poems here are translated by Heidi Palapar and Anthony Quintanar, also very good poets. So we have from CNU, a student from the Cebu Normal University. May we adjust the camera? So we have Gustavo Surigao to read the English translation of Kung Muotog ang Balak.
When a poem gets hard on. A poem having hard on is impetuous, as if possessing a will of its own. It doesn't ask permission in saluting the bushy thickets of clouds, the voluptuous hills, the crack on the cliff's groin. At times, it just stiffens for no reason and knows no place at time. If it has a hard on, it has hard on, even if chance never opened its legs.
Daghang salamat to Justado. Congratulations for reading that and also not being scared of reading that. So, per lahi gid og isulti ni Magbisaya, kung muotog yun. Kung muotog kini, hala muotog kini, bahalag di bilangkaran sa higayon. So, after muotog, magawsa na dayon ka og magawsa na dayon ka sa imong creative nga mga huna-huna how to write the poem. So that's why the title of our event today is Gigawsan, Poetic, Inspiration, Perspiration, and Climax. And there was a question, what is it in Bisaya? So and Adonis said, balak nung kaikag, sa gatong tinguha ug katumanan. So Adonis, we would like to ask you now, kanus aman ka gawsan? What triggers you to write a poem? What triggers kanus amo gawas? When does the inspiration hit? When does the inspiration hit you?
Mhm. Interesting kay na siya nga question, no. Og daghan na sad nangutana sa ako kung kanang unsay maka-inspire nako nga musuwat og balak. Most often nagtuo ang tanan nga murag inhal naagi tawo nga maka-inspire nimo una ka musuwat. I think dili na sa akong case. So most often ma-trigger ko og suwat og balak by just hearing one word nga para sa kuha ana at that time kanang one word ra siya pero lahi og effects ako ba. In fact, kasagaran kung ang word gani ma-misheard nako kanang nay term ana nga gitawag og Monday Green, mo nay term nga giunsan mo nay pagkasulti pero lahi ang pagkadungog nimo. So usually diha mo trigger nga makadungog ko og one word nya masumpayan na kog lain ug mo kanit-kanit na maka-trigger sad sa ko ang line, like for example na ako'y basahon nga kanang balak nya nay usa ka line diha nga nakita nako nga indot ta gini nga linya pero sa iyang pagsuwat sa balak wala niya ni na explore, so i-try ka na kog explore sa lahi nga paagi. So a poem begets a poem. So murag sa pagbasa og balak makasuwat sa kaglaing balak, or usahay sad ka na madunggan nimo sa sine mga kanang or lyrics sa kanta, kanang usahay matrigger po kog concept, like for example or image kung nakoy makit-an nga lanindruta ato nga scene, no, matranslate baka nako na siya sa into poetry unya. Of course, event nga mahitabo sa imong kinabuhi or na kay murag naay ka ng butang nga medyo sa tan-aw nimo kanang meaningful sa imuha, usa sana siya sa factor nga makasuwat ko. Alang sad sa kasayuran sa tanan kanang dili ko, unlike sa uban, dili ko mosuwat og kanang permanente. Usahay kanang mosuwat ko og siguro karon kung mosuwat ko makasuwat na sad kog balik mga kanang mga after like 6 months, pero kung makasuwat ko ana makasugod na kog suwat murag bundak sa gyud, usahay makasuwat kog unom ka balak sa usa ka adlaw. So dili ko kanang mo na usahay mo ana ko sa akong kagalingon, di man gyud siguro ko writer, pero ang akong hunahuna is poet gyud kay bawo man ko mosuwat og poetry. So mo nang akong kuan kay ang ubang writer naman sila gitawag nga murag ambot kinsa to nga writer nga you're not a writer, you're a typewriter, kay murag kada adlaw na lang makasuwat ba. Murag si ko ano siguro na si kanang Joyce Carol Oates murag i-consider nga kuan kay daghan na kay siya libro ba, murag more on a typewriter than a writer. So mo na ang kuan, mo na ang the way ko nga musuwat. So in terms of trigger kanang walay usa ka tubag kundi anything can trigger me.
Yes, there was a time, Dons, when you told me in one of our events, our literary events, you told me that dili man ko bastos nga pagkatao. I am not an indecent person. The muse just asked me to write the poem that way. And then later, like last month, I asked you, Dons, you should talk about your muses. And then you said, and then you told me, wala man ko'y muse. I just have triggers. So you told me that it was your muse who told you. So for example, when you wrote this poem, kung muotog ang balak, when the poem gets a hard on, so your muse told you to write your poem this way.
Yeah, sakto na siya. In fact, kanang ambot kong superstitious ba ni, pero that's how kanang I see it ba nga kanang ang poet is mura na siya og channel, murag kung moabot ang balak nga moana gyud na siya manguhit sa imo ba nga suwat ako. So ako sad ang klase sa writer nga di ko mamugos, kung dili gani ko makasuwat og balak di gyud ako pugson, not unless nga mo kanang manuktok gyud na sa ko or manguhit sa ko nga huy suwat ako nya. Usahay ang balak bisag unsaon pa nako nga tinuod na ikaw nakaila man ka sa ako nga di man gyud ko bastos nga. In fact mas scandalize mo gani ko nimo kasi the way imong nga language, di ba? So ang sako kanang as a person we have to separate nga lahi ang poet or lahi ko as a person nya lahi sad ang voice diha sa balak. So usahay ang balak sa tan-aw nimo bastos siya paminawon, pero you have to separate nga ang poet is separate sa balak itself. So
Adonis was telling us nga he's not an indecent person, and he thinks that the events that I have been holding here, like when we discussed the sex lives of pre-colonial Visayans, it was more bastos for him. And then, because of course the 500-year-old word for sex is iyot, and then we use that word as our event title. So he was so scandalized because he knew me. He thought that I was like a nun, and I couldn't say those words. So he was so scandalized when I now read his poem, and he thinks that the way I read his poem is so scandalous. And then he could not imagine me because he always thought of me like a nun. And then, so Adonis, there are now comments here. So Gina Mantua Pane says, "Grabiha sa metaphor." So this is for the niutog nga balak. So this is for the poem that has a hard on or an erection. So Liberata Policarpio from DepEd Taguig City and Pateros, good morning. And Gina Panes also says again, lahi ragyod ang lumadnong sinultihan. And Donna Torion says, from Taguig City and Pateros, magandang buhay, magandang umaga from Vicente Delgado. So now we invite you to give your questions for Adonis as we go along. So as we have this, before we give Adonis another question, is Catherine already here? So si Kuan na mabasa? So we have this poem also. This is a poem that was discussed in a literature class. I think also in another school. From Nini Guarjario, what is from what school is she, Chris? Wala ka kay balo. From University of Cebu. So this poem has been discussed in a literature class in the University of Cebu, and there is a question related to this poem. So we have again to read the poem Pansit, and this is from the collection of Adonis, Dili Tanang Matagak Mahagbong, and this is the poem is entitled Pansit, to be read to us by Diosdado Surigao.
Pansit. Mahadlok ko sa una, kung gutomon si Papa ma. Dili na siya mukaon. Ang platong gisudlan nimo sa sudan mo kalitlag hagtok sa imong bagol-bagol ug sama kaguba sa karaan natong banggera ang mga balikas ni Papa. Litse atay yawa. Wa kabay laing ipakaon nako kung dili puros pansit. Labaas pa kaayo kanako hangtod karon ma. Nahinumdum pa ko sa kahumot sa hebe o katambok sa ginisang baboy nga nanabit sa imong buhok diin sa nagkamantika nimong dangwingoy gipuga sa atong bintana ang limonsitong buwan.
Yay. Pwede niyo mabasa ang English? Pwede. Thank you very much for the very good delivery of that poem. You really captured the emotion of this daughter or this child regarding the pansit and the papa cursing. So can you read the English also? I'm not ready to be able to read it. So see, Catherine is not yet here to read the English translation of that poem. Sige.
Noodles. I used to get very scared when Papa was hungry, ma. First, he would refuse to eat. The plate in which you had dished out his food he'd break on your plate. His curses were awful, as dreadful as our old broken down sink. Let's say, Atay yawa, is this all you have to feed me? Noodles all the time? I remember it very well, even now, ma. The cabbage that went with the noodles, the smell of dried shrimp, and the fried pork fat clinging to your hair. And how, to your oil-slathered subs, the lemon sour moon squeeze its light through our window.
Yay. Thank you very much. I have goosebumps sa limbot.
Yeah.
Ako tinuod yun. Nang limbot yun akong balhibog yun. Na marug yun akong balhibog yun. Thank you very much, Just Dado, for that. How you gave justice to that poem by Adonis. And we can
Yeah.
also see
Salamat kang kuan Diosdado, lami kay pagkabasa.
oh, lami kayo. Maayo kay pagkabasa, Just Dado. Congratulations. So we have this comment from what is balang Lloyd Jeff Pray Rojas says Adonis Durado is my idol. So Lloyd, kamausad ka mo salat og balak. Do you also know how to write a poem or and Liberata Policarpio, this is a social studies supervisor also in Taguig City and Pateros. What is balang po, sir? So Liberata is this balak. Balak is a Cebuano word or Bisaya word for poetry. And we would know that even in Spanish period or pre-colonial times, there is already balak, but they sang their poems. And Gina Mantua Pane says, I noticed Sir Adonis Durado in his works is a lover of puns and the peculiarity of language. He is very natural in poking mind sensibilities, fun despite breaking traditional barriers in writing. And Anthony Quintanar, one of the translators of the poetry of Adonis, says, kudos to Diosdado for that impassioned reading. And Anthony Quintanar is one of the very good poets, even a mentor of Adonis. So Anthony Quintanar in our college years was really he would give workshops on creative writing for us. And he says, kudos, congratulations for your reading of that uh, of that poem by Adonis. So this is now the question from Nyan Rose Guardiario of the University of Cebu, who mentioned this poem, the Pansit, as one of those poems that they discuss in their class. And she also invited her students to come and join us in this event with Adonis. So this is now the question from Nyan Rose Guardiario of the University of Cebu. What inspired you to write Pansit? And will there be ever a response to this poem from the father's point of view? So it was the child or the daughter or the son. We don't know the gender of the one who wrote the point of view of the Pansit. So the question, Adonis, is what inspired you to write that poem, Pansit? And will there be a response from the point of view of the father?
Okay. Before nako na tubagon kanang nakoy gamay nga trivia. So sa pagsugod na kog suwat og balak kanang murag practice ra ang akong klase sa writing gyud nagsugod kog mga surrealist nga mga poems. At that time mo nang akong tawagan na siya practice kay kuan man kanang ang intention ato is more on pag-learn sa language niya murag malingaw ko sa kanang kung ang word gani isumpay nako og kanang murag bakikaw nga word nga another word murag mo trigger siya sa kuha og kanang murag murag siya mas marvelous ba, like for example kung tan-aw ka og magic realist nga painting or surrealist nga painting, like for example ang banana itupad mo postiso, murag maka-create siya something marvelous Mariana. So ang ako ang balak sa sugod nga nagpractice kog suwat kanang more on surrealistic or magic realist. So ang first gid nako nga serious nga poem nga ning ko nga mosuwat kog serious nga poem mao tong kanang ang balaki ko day samtang gasakay taga Balaba. Mo na first nako nga serious poem. Ang ikaduha nga nako nga serious nga poem is ang Pansit. So mo na trivia nga mo na second nako nga balak nga nasuwat nga ning ko nga musuwat ko og balak. So ang kanang balak nga Pansit, so na mention nimo Agripina kaganiha nga kanang nasuwat nako ang balaki ko day kay katong nag fact finding mission ta dito sa Tuburan, which is sakto mo to first time nako nga naka-encounter sa word nga habal-habal. So ang naka-trigger sa ako ato nga balak kanang word nga habal-habal nga, di ba? Ang word nga habal is lahi siya og meaning niya. Kanang ang visual pagid ba nga makita mo nga naghuot kay mo dito nga nagsakay sa habal-habal. So diha mo na naka-trigger sa ako sa pagsuwat. So so going back pag kanang kung ang so balik sa pangutana kung unsay naka-inspire nako pagsuwat og pansit, agi siguro nga tungod at that time is aktivista ko, usa sa akong ginahuna nga ganahan ko mosuwat og balak nga kanang criticism sa domestic violence kay prevalent kayo na kay ako nagpuyo mi sa una og kanang medyo squatter, so makakita gyud ka, maka-witness ka og unsa ka kanang unsa ang mga kanang kahimtang sa mga kasagaran sa atong kababayen-an ba nga kanang biktima sa domestic violence. So ang nakalisod sa pagsuwat ana nga di ko ganahan nga medyo didactic ang feeling or murag propaganda ang dating. So kinahanglan mo assume ko og voice nga maka-relate ang kuan ang reader. So mo to nga decide ko nga siguro ang voice ini ang bata. So sayop kasagaran ang munahuna tungod kay first person, moingon dayon sila nga naimusuwat sa ko ang abi nila nga ako ana nga experience. Dili na nako experience kundi nakita nako na pero kinahanglan ko mo gamit og voice haron makarelate ka nga nagbasa nga murag ikaw ang naa didto. So mo na ako ang pinakamubo nga tubag kung unsay naka-inspire nako sa pagsuwat og pansit. So sa ikaduha nga pangutana naabay kanang response ang papa. So sa ako ang tan-aw siguro moabot na pero wa ko'y reason nganong makasuwat ko og kanang point of view sa papa kay kung tan-aw nimo ang papa may perpetrator ani nganong tagaan man ako og kuan. So ako as a poet usas ako ang gina-aspire gyud nga kanang kung tan-aw nimo akong balak kung magtan-aw ka kanang the poet should be the voice of the kanang voiceless or sa mga unheard of kanang mga siya ang voice sa mga butang nga dili pirmi maistoryahan or unsa pa diha. So mo na kasagaran panalitan ako'y balak nga ang babaeng way bilbil or ang kanang so kasagaran sa akong mga ganahan nga topic suwaton is katong mga unpopular katong itan-aw nimo nga dili siya nga bati sa uban bati kuno or ingana pero para sa ako poetic ang akong kung makita ko kanang poetic justice ba mo na ako as a poet mo na akong ginapangita. So kana.
So daghang salamat Don. We're so proud of you that you have this mission in your poetry. You are not just a poet for poetry's sake, but you have this goal of really giving voice to the voiceless. So for those who wanted to know what Adonis said, that he was able to write that poem Pansit when he was living among the urban poor and he saw domestic violence, and that was why there could not as of now wala pa'y nanguhit niya. He is not being asked by his muse to write the point of view of the father because he thought that he thinks that the point of view of the short, the small or the voiceless, the child, and the mother who saw who experienced domestic violence, that is the voice that he wanted to give in that point. So I also remember Don, so I don't know, unsa na gani nga time, naala ko time limit ani. So actually, I also remember Adonis when he wrote this poem in one of these publications in college. Kabaw, you wrote about that poem about Kabaw ni Lolo. Now you saw the Kabaw ni Lolo in the in the
Garapon.
in the jar of ginamos or sa amahong or in the fermented fish. And then you told me that for the students that read your poem, they did not understand your poem. But when you went to the barrio among the farmers and you showed them your balak, And you told me that you were so happy because the farmers understood your poetry, your poem. And that was before Balaki Kuday Samtang. Was that before Balaki
Yes,
Kuday Samtang
I think art na siya sa katong gitawag na ko blue period ba kung sa Picasso pa nga istorya nga murag preliminary nako, so part na siya sa mga surrealist nga mga balak. So ang title ato kay Hain man di ay ang kabaw ni Lolo. Pero murag
Carabao of Lolo.
pero nakuan ko murag naglibog ko karon kay murag ikaw man tingali to ang ni balita sa ko ang pag nakay giadto niya nakasabot sila so bali tingali. Ikaw ang hatag
Ako
sa
inisulti mo. I was the one who told you nga. So because the farmers are always are always wishing for a Carabao. And in
Yeah.
that poetry of Adonis, the Lolo would see the Carabao in all places, in the banig, in all places that he would look at. He would see the Carabao because he is always wishing for a Carabao because a Carabao is very important for the farmers and they could not have any Carabao because they are so poor that they could not have a Carabao. So now thank you very much, Adonis. I don't know. There are so many reactions right now, but we would like to read. I would like to read to you. Who would read the English translation of this? Wala. Wala. Sumubo raman ni siya. So because we have this poetry, this is the second poetry collection of Adonis shorts. Binugbo alang sa mugbo ug kalipay. Shorts for the short joy. So one of the poems here, so there are love poems here, but we choose this poem. So this is one of the theme. There are themes in this book, in this poetry collection. So this is dulot sa bukog or close to the bone. Human gipanglamba ang mga bintana ug pultahan. Human gipaksit ang mga sin ug sinulirap nga atop. Human gipangwakli ang mga kahoy ug poste. Di matarog ang pagpanamin sa kahilom. Diha sa linaw sa gamay nga limaw. So, the English. After the doors and windows are slammed, after the roofs of tin and tiles are torn off, after the posts and trees are swept aside, silence cannot be budged from gazing at the reflection in the tiny puddle. So, daghang salamat to Adonis for this poetry. So, of course, I was asking him, Dons, is this a poem about the homes, the houses of the people being demolished? But this is just about a typhoon. so this is about the typhoon. But then we could see like there could be a man-made typhoon, and this is a natural calamity. Could be. It depends on your interpretation. It could be a natural calamity tearing away or destroying homes, but it could also be a man-made calamity destroying homes.
Yeah.
So
I think sa imong tubag kanang wala man gyud kanang kumingon ka nga unsay meaning or unsay pasabot ani. Para sa ko daghan di ba sa gimong gimension daghan kay mangutana sa ko unsay meaning ani ana. Sa pagsuwat og poetry or sa pag-appreciate sa poetry, dili importante ang meaning. I think mao na angay itudlo sa mga maestra sad ba nga ang most important thing sa pagbasa gani og balak is to appreciate the language. Usahay ikaduha na kung nasabtan na nimo, pero the way giunsa pagsunod-sunod or paggamit ang word, I think that's enough nga kay di ba ang usahay kanang murag ang kuan ba kanang ang experience sa language labi na kung imong basahon o kanang vocalize gid nimo ba kanang na siya gitawag og visceral effects sa imuha. So mo na ang kuan mo unta na nga sa pagbasa sa balak panita mo basa kag balak ayaw dayon pangita og kuan sa meaning or kung nasabtan ba na nimo kundi i-feel ang language kung giunsa kay in fact di ba ang definition ang ubang definition sa poetry kay the best word and the best order mo na ilang pinaka mubo nga definition sa poetry ba, which is tinuod nga kanang the more mas concise niya, mas kanang compact niya, makakita ka sa pattern sa kanang pag-arrange niya sa words. I think diha ang mas power nga effect sa imuha.
Dahil salamat, Adonis. So we have this reactions also from the audience, and we have an upcoming question from Joseph Dazo, also a poet who wrote this collection, this poetry collection. This is Unang Gabi sa Mango Avenue, and he is also the author of this poetry collection with the about the LGBT, with the theme on the LGBT. Libulan, is he the author of that? Chris, di ba? Si Joseph, he is also the author of Libulan. Dili day siya? Di day siya author? Kini? Oh, but then,
I think kuan siya, co-editor man siya.
sa Libulan.
Hmm.
And then it's out of print. So, and there are people who wanted to buy that book. So, Libulan. And Libulan is, of course, also a Visayan goddess. A Visayan goddess of the moon, of the Visayans, Libulan. Thank you very much to Joseph Dazo. And this is the question from Joseph Dazo for Adonis. May we show the the Bisaya question for Adonis? So this is the question in your poetry, in your poem. You have a recurring theme on the situation of the person or the recurring human condition. May you discuss how you were able to get the emotion and the experiences that resonate in the readers, especially for those who have just learned to love and to learn about the art of reading and writing poetry.
Mhm.
So, mauna siya ang question. So, while you are waiting, you are preparing your answer, Dons, I would like to read some comments here.
Okay.
Lloyd Jeff Pray Rojas says, I have been writing for my students and encouraging them to write Indigay sa Balak contest. And Mom, you were one of the judges sa Indigay sa Balak on Charter Day, and the student landed second place, katong girl. Thank you very much, Lloyd. So I was one of the judges there in the Indigay sa Balak of the Cebu City, also Youth Commission. So thank you very much to the youth of Cebu for encouraging the young people of Cebu to write poetry, especially Bisaya nga, Balak. So this is a question from Gina Mantua Panes for the Congress organizer. Do we get to view a recorded video of this session with Mr. Durado? My connection is problematic. The audio buffers on my end. Yes, Gina, you would be able to see a recorded after actually this event. Would now be shown at the Palmgrass page and also at the YouTube page of Palmgrass, the Cebu Heritage Hotel. So, Don, what's your answer to the question of Joseph?
Yeah, so tinuod na siya nga murag kuan kanang nagi recurring theme or condition nga magbalik-balik sa ako ang balak. Murag normal na siya sa kada poet. Like for example, sa kung dili lang sa poet kun dili writer in general, like hatag na kog example for example Kafka, ang concept sa alienation magsigig recurring na siya nga theme. So sa ako asad siguro kanang basig sa akong tan-aw sa ako ang experience, ako ang mga nakit-an kanang muna nga magsigig balik-balik na og kanang kuan kanang nako og suwat nya. In fact sa koa kay murag naasad siguro ang imuhang naasad siguro diha ang kanang imuhang matawag nga kanang unsa may imong interest or passion. So ako malingaw mi ko kanang suwat og kanang love poems nya. In fact kanang mo nay pirmi magsigig balik-balik ba niya ako usahay dili ako nang pugngan kay inko nga kanang puulan na ning sigig suwat og love poem oy nya. Pero ang sa ko agid is mo try ko og kanang kuan, mo try kog explore kung love poem man gani na siya, mo try kog explore kung unsa pay wala nasuwat or lahi ganahan ko makita og lahi nga paagi sa pagsuwat sa love poem. So murag ingana ang ako ang kuan ba try og kanang gitry nako og kanang achieve sa akong kaugalingon. Unya, so unsa to ikaduhang pangutana mahimo mo bang
How
i-discuss
do you how do you make those who just newly
Aha.
newly learned to love
Yeah.
poetry? How do you get them be inspired?
I think ang pinaka-importante no sa dili lang as a poet kundi as kung writer ka kanang kuan gyud kanang be observant. So kanang usa sa ako ang pirmi nako buhaton kung maminaw kusog gyud kay ko maminaw. So kung makadungog kog something nga grabe ka murag nindot para sa kuha dili nako nakalimtan either isuwat nako na kung nga magamit nako ni puhon. So importante sana nga kanang mag-notes ka kung unsa imong ma-observe or bisan ganig magbasa ka sa Facebook usahay na kanang usahay mo na akong tanawon magbasa kog mga comments kay dili nga kanang mananaw ko og kanang unsa kay ilahang itubag kundi mananaw ko ba og kanang giunsa nila pag formulate ang or pagtubag kay we have to you have to kanang understand nga ako dugay na ko nga wala sa Pilipinas og daghan na kaayo mga butang nga kanang ang language is evolving. So the only way nga ma-connect ko nya murag mahasa gyapon ako akong binasaya is kana magbasa ko mga comments sa Facebook tan-aw nako kung naabay na usab. In fact katong I mean dugay-dugay man gyud ko nas gawas nana ko diri sa gawas pagbalik lang ko Cebu nga na-evolve na ang word nga di ba nga nang na word nga turjak nana ko diri sa Cebu pag abot na ko diri wa ko kasabot ana at first kung unsay meaning ana. So as you can see ang language is really evolving.
Oh, nag-evolve siya, but then the iyot word, it's still the iyot 500 years ago. It's one of the gahi kayo. So 500 years ago, Dons, Pigafetta is not in Pigafetta, but it is in the 1616 dictionary of Father Mateo Sanchez, and he wrote the iyot as IOT because there's no Y in Spanish. So it's already in the oldest Visayan dictionary in 1616, and in the Pigafetta's list of Visayan words, there was already utin, bilat, bulbul. So kaning atong himulbulan, bulbul is already a 500-year-old word. So there are gahi kay ning mga Bisaya nga mga words. So there was a discussion in our previous event in and the string instruments from pre-colonial to modern Philippines. Among all colonies of Spain, it was the Philippines one of the two that has not used the Spanish language. So kanang kita sila may nag-learn. The missionaries learned our language to colonize us. Kay they could not do it without learning our own language. That's why our Bisaya words. But then right now, when the children are now being taught English and are told to speak English in school and at home, so we have now a danger of the younger generations not being able to know how to speak Bisaya and Cebuano. So I'm speaking English right now because of course our audience right now is international. So now we have this question from journalist Gavin Sanson Bagares. You have so many questions actually online, and we would also invite our audience later to ask a question if they have questions. So this is a Gavin Sanson Bagares is a multimedia journalist, and he saw this poem a new poem posted by Adonis Durado. So before we show Gavin, we show Tigmo ni Maria. So do we have the Tigmo ni Maria, or do we show first his question? Yung question are we ready for Tigmo ni Maria? Ha, wala pa. Thank you very much to Brother Carl Gaspar for being here with us this morning. So we have this poem of this is newly posted by Adonis, and this is Tigmo ni Maria, matag unya ug karon ihi sa kadabuan dugo sa tagidyot tao. Every now and then, pee or urine ba na pee. Monthly blood. Once in a while. Unsa man na in every unsa man na every or often tagidyot. Unsa man na person, tao, human, tao. So Gavin, so he was not able to voice his question for this, but he was asking regarding that image, if it is really did you make that image? Yes.
Nangutana ka nako?
Oh, nangutanan ako daw.
Dili pa. So actually ang kana nga image is
Can we show the image again?
Sculpture na siya. Gikan na siya sa artist nga ang iyang pangan kay Louis Churchill. British na siya nga sculptor. Kanang naman ko'y gibasa good about kanang concept gani sa Greek nga kanang sculpture kanang gitawag og anassirma. Kanang anassirma is mga image na siya nga sa Greek sculpture nga kanang ganing pukaso nila ilahang sayal or ilahang ipakita ilahang paa. Kuha na siya kanang concept na siya sa sculpture. Ang idea na is to drive off evil. So bisag kanang makita kag uban nga sculpture nga lalaki niya dagko og palos, kanang part gyapon na siya ingana ang concept sa anassirma. So ang kani siya nga sculpture, I think ang pangalan niya kay Vulval Madonna. So kuan gini siya, sculpture gini siya nga pagkita nako na-inspire ko nga mosuwat ana nga balak.
So you are inspired that the Vulval Madonna. So this is a sculpture, Vulval Madonna, and you made a poem out of it. That what passes through the vulva of the Madonna. So this is so we would tell Gavin regarding your answer. So here is now the question of Gavin Sanson Bagares for Adonis. He recorded his question because he is usually still sleeping right now. His morning is at 5 p.m. So this is Gavin.
Hi, Adonis. I heard an anecdote that radio soaps in Cebuano like Manok ni San Pedro, Verboten, were a source of your creative feeding while growing up. Any truth to this, please?
So mo na to, Adonis, the question from Osara na. Actually, it's the same question. He sent us 3 clips. So if the radio drama Manok ni San Pedro, I don't know about Verboten, nakadungog gana?
Yes.
Isa na, di ba HP gyapon na?
Murag di ba HP mo siguro na pero kuha na siya kanang mga sa udto na kay
so mga sensual drama na sila, sensual drama.
Yes.
So what's your answer to Gavin's question?
Kanang murag may bawaan gyud siguro na nga tiguang na kahita kay so sakto si Gavin tinuod na nga kanang nagdako ko sa probinsya sa San Remio, so sa northern part sa Cebu. So kay probinsya man wa mi kuan ang mode of entertainment namo kay instead of TV kay radyo. So para sa ko dako na siguro ako anang gi-trace ba nga murag dako siya nga impact sa ko sa writer nga tigpaminawan ko radyo kay kuan man kanang labi na kanang radio drama kung unsa imong madunggan ang sa imong nasud sa nahuna, mas mo expand imong imagination ba, kay wala nimo nakita ang naa sa sud sa imong hunahuna diha ang kuan. So mo sa na ang di ba ang beauty about reading, like reading a novel, kay sige kag basa og novel, ang kay dili man nimo makita kundi ang naaman sud sa imong utok nagbihok na tanang imong gibasa mo nang maka-expand. So para sa ko dako to nga siguro nga impluwensya sa ko ang kusog kay ko maminaw og drama sa radyo. Nya in fact, kay akong gi-mention nga naami sa Northern Cebu, mo nay rason nga tungod kay taga Northern Cebu ko, San Remio ko, mo nay rason nga nung kasabot kog Ilonggo, kay ang channel nga makuha sa amo kay dili ang channel sa Cebu kundi dili ang channel sa Bacolod, or dili Bacolod kung mas duol Ilonggo ang kuan ang among makuha nga TV channel.
Sige, salamat Dan. So, pareha data Don. So we grew up listening to radio drama. So of course, so for the radio drama, you get to you only listen to the words. So it's up to you to imagine how the scenes are in real life. So you would be imagining how is it. So it's unlike now the television or even the social media or films that you get to see really what the filmmaker wanted you to see. For radio drama or even for novels, for the written word and for the word that you only listen to, the words that you listen to, it is up to you to make for your imagination how you interpreted those words that you read or that you heard.
Yeah.
So that's why Adonis said, so that was, according to Gavin, the creative feeding. So were the radio dramas part of the creative feeding? So Adonis was fed with these creative works from the radio drama and also from the written word in novels and stories or novels. So maybe you also read the Bisaya magazine, Dons.
Yeah.
So there were stories and comics. Of course, the comics, there were already portrayals of the scene, but there were also poetry also in the Bisaya magazine. There was in the past, we were so excited. My father was a subscriber to the Bisaya magazine. We were growing up. We were so excited every Friday or Saturday when the Bisaya magazine would come out. So, and of course, we listen to radio drama every day when there are no classes. So,
ang kuan sa di ay akong i-mention nga at sa una nga panahon sad ang mga ngilngig sad nga mga writer dili lang sila mosuwat sa magazine or dili lang sila writer sa publication kundi magsuwatan sad sila radyo. So mo na ang radyo drama sa una nasa equality.
Yes. So Adonis said that the writers in the Bisaya magazine also wrote for the radio. So that's why you would hear quality poems and also and writing in the radio like drama. So it's a literary art also, Dons,
No,
the radio
I
drama.
clarify na ako, dili sila magsulatan sa Bisaya magazine kundi magsulatan sila like dili particular for Bisaya magazine.
For our magazines. So there is a question here. So there is a greeting from Marivic 𝗂𝙗𝗓 from Taguig City and Pateros. So daghang salamat to our science education program supervisor from 𝗪𝗐𝗐 also. Liberata Policarpio says, since Cebu City Island, Humunhon Limasawa was where Ferdinand Magellan and his crew landed way back in March 16, 1521. Mactan Island was the site of the Lapu-Lapu and Magellan's battle. Why there's no poem about that historic event? So actually, there are poems. I think there are also there is a novel written by Vicente Gullias, Lapu-Lapu. It is a novel. There is poetry like Ako'y Sundang by a 1900s poet, but and mentioning the Sundang of Lapu-Lapu. But there is not a very popular poem that everyone would know of. It's like Jose Rizal's Mi Ultimo Adios or the other poetry of Jose Rizal that is very popular. So we all even discovered in the books on Cebuanong Binisaya poetry, we have these poems written by Cebuano revolutionaries in the anti-Spanish war. But then it's not popular. So we saw that even those warriors in the those who revolted against Spain were also actually poets, but it's not popularized. So there is another question, Dons. Good morning po, Mylene Liwag says, good morning from Taguig City and Paters. I saw a question from Mindanao, but it's now lost in my comment section. Did you see that there is this comment from Mindanao? Also a writer from, congratulations everyone. This is from Loy Merks. I'm tuning in from Mindanao. I'm curious by Adonis' perspective on the diverse forms of Cebuano Bisaya, which, while deviating from the standard Bisaya grammar, have been culturally embraced and practiced in numerous regions. Daghang salamat. So this is from Loy. We don't know from which part in Mindanao. Is this Davao or Cagayan de Oro or which part? What can you say about that?
Yeah,
What
ang kuan akong tubagan na is like sa Davao in particular na sila lahi nga klase nga binisaya. And anya normal raman na siguro nga naay ang Cebuano language na ay mga dialects lain-lain kay bisag gani diri sa Cebu, di ba? Ang kanang ang Bantayanon na sila kaugalingon nila nga klase sa Cebuano. So I think kanang okay na siya niya kanang in fact mas nindot nga i-promote na gyud nga kung ingana nga klase taga diha ka, ingana nga klase nga binisay-an ang imuhang suwaton, di ba? So I think that's a kuan kanang dili na para sa ko dili ko purist, wala na ko nagitan-aw nga babag or anything negative, but a sign nga language is always evolving. Language is alive. So normal na siya nga lain-laing klase kay bisag ganig ang English mismo kung mag-adto lang ka og di ba bisag sa UK lang nga lain-lain ang ilahang kuan nay mga variation gyud sa depende kung asa ka dapita nga part sa UK.
So daghang salamat Don. So Loy, that's the answer of Adonis, that language is always evolving. So he is not purist and he allows these deviations from the really pure Cebuano or Bisaya. So of course, did you know that one of our resource persons also on Surat, on the ancient writing of the Visayan, said that in the past, in pre-colonial times or before the Spanish occupation, there was only one language in the Visayas Islands. So we were, because of these of the border controls that the Spaniards made, that's why they developed local languages from the different Visayan islands, the different islands in the Visayas. But we would all still see the common words, right? In even with the different languages in the Visayas islands, then we could still see some common words in our language. So there is so Loy says daghang salamat, and also Liberata says daghang salamat. So I would like to read to you this poem that Adonis wanted me to read for you. So who would read the English when we're 70 or kanang inigtungtong? Ako ra gyapon mabasa sa inigtungtong, pero diri ra nako basahon from my wala tay ko natay bago pa na. So actually, so there is also another poem that supposedly the English translation of Kantang Hinubog. Adonis did not want this poem, but I wanted this to read this because even Adonis usually does not want to read the love poems because, of course, the love poems of Adonis are the most popular poems, but he wanted to show that he is not just a bastos poet, but he is a socially conscious poet. That's why he always tells me that he wants to read those poems that are socially relevant. But then I would tell him, our audience want the love. Our audience also wants to read the love poems and the erotic and the sensual poems. So later I would read to you this poem that I chose, kantang hinubog, or unsa ni sa English, a drunken song. So later, that would be later. So now I would like to read to you this poem that Adonis wants me to read. Ning, ready na ka Ning? Si Neneng, the best half of Adonis, was now ready to hear this, to listen to this poem. Inigtungtong natog si tinta. Ubanon man ang buhok, mag-uban lang gihapon. Take two ko ha, take two. Ubanon man ang buhok, mag-uban ra gihapon. Mag-agbayay ang puros mga nanimahong haplas. Kabuhion o panuhoton, nangalisbo sa pag-unong. Ug dawaton tang luya na, gisungkod ang isig-usa. Dawaton tang limtanon, apan bahalag ugod-ugod, magbayli lang gihapon. Bungol-bungol, hap-hap, minghoy pa saging luyat, apan piskay pangmukaut. Ako sa imong buko-buko, ikaw sa akong buko-buko. Grabe kabigaon ng mga tiguang. Bitaw, joke. Tiguang na ta, pero higa lang yapon ta. Bitaw, joke na ha. So, makita na to, we would see the play of words like ubanon, so this is white-haired. So, ubanon man ang buhok, mag-uban ra gihapon ta. We would be white-haired, but we would still be together. Mag-uban, uban is another word. It's a word that says, we would be together. We are together. Then, uban is also the white hair. Ubanon man ang buhok, mag-uban ra gihapon ta. We would mag-agbayay ang puros na nimahong haplas. We smell of liniment. If we kaset, even if we smell of liniment, we could have kabuhi. O sa kabuhi, we would have stomach cramps or stomach upset. And even if we are gipanuhot, we are usanang panuhot, kanang we have cold. Actually, there is an English translation, but I would like to translate. And then, but we would smell of pag-unong. Unsa nang pag-unong? Kanang being with you no matter what happens. So even if we smell of nangalisbo ta kay gipanuhot ta, but we are smelling of pag-unong, or kanang we are together no matter what. Whatever happens, we would still be bahalag mangutot ka. So, and then we accept that even if we are already luya na, we are not anymore strong. We are making each other the sungkod. Asa nang sungkod? We are leaning on to each other. We are making, asa nang sungkod? Cane. We are making a sungkod, or you are my sungkod, you are my cane, and I am your cane. We sungkod each other. Gisungkod ang isig-usa. We accept that we may be forgetful, ugod-ugod, we can't walk straight, and then but we can still dance together. We can still dance. Magbayli ra gihapon ta. We can be hard of hearing, we cannot see properly. We are, sa itong minghoy dance? We are flaccid. Like a limp banana. We can be flaccid. We may be flaccid like a limp banana, but we are still alert. We are still alert in reaching out. You at my back and me at your back. So there is a translation for that. Di na lang ako basahon, translate na ako. So that's the inigtungtong. When we are 70, we may be limp, but we can still reach out to you. I can still touch your back and you touching my back, or scratch my back. It's the translation was, you can scratch my back and I scratch your back. But lahi ra gyud when you say, piskay pang mukaut. Ako sa imong buko-buko, ikaw sa akong buko-buko. mauna si Tinta. Sige. So daghang salamat. So there is do we still have questions here? So we have good morning from Jane Jarder from Taguig City and Pateros, from Pateros National High School, from Babes Bay, from Taguig City and Pateros. And we have also this question from Dr. Lita Bacalia, also a Filipino professor, also from the Commission ng Wikang Filipino. And her question is this: Adonis, what is the difference? What makes your poetry different from other poetry? What makes your poetry different from the other poems, or the poetry of other authors or other poets?
Siguro lisod man ako nga i-compare akong kagalungan sa uban. So ang sakoa lang siguro musulti lang ko kung unsay akong ganahan suwaton murag ana ba. Sa ako ang bahin murag kanang, I think na-mention ako previously nga ganahan ko musuwat og something nga dili kayo popular murag ana ba. So ang ako asang gitry ug achieve kay bawog gyud ko nga ang mga Bisaya is kanang yagayagaon. So gina-aspire gyud nako na pirmi nga makasuwat ko og humorous nga mga balak. So kung tan-aw nimo kasagaran sa ako in fact ang previous nako nga collection katong ang nakayatak na yatakan kay kana siya tibuok puro na siya more exploration ako na siya sa humor. So in general, I think mao na siguro ang kalahian na sa uban og sa ako ang poetry nga kanang more on ganahan ko ma-explore sa humor. Nya ikaduha sad kanang dili ang ako asang gina-achieve is dili ang ako as a poet di ko mingon nga alam musuwat kog balak. Ang ako is kanang mo create kog poetry. So mo na akong term create og poetry kay kung tan-aw nimo ako ang collection sa libro na ako'y mga kanang visual exploration sa poetry. Nya nagtuo ko nga as a poet kanang dili siguro kanang ang akong pag-explore sa poetry kay dili nga maka-create og dili makasuwat og bala kun dili maka-create og poem, meaning kanang ang akong gina-try og gukod kanang concept of poetic, something poetic. So mo na nga kanang mo nang na ako'y mga visual poetry, mo nang more medyo experimental ko kay dili man nakahikot sa writing lang gyud kun dili ang ako is kanang unsa mang butanga nga medyo poetic. So posible gani nga maka-produce ko kanang film nga na atong tunga ana nga poetic, or kung tan-awon sad nimo na ay sa ako ang poetry nga mo incorporate ko og kanang music jutay akong i-part na siya. So I think kung as a modern poet dili nga writing lang gid ka, or siguro tungod sa ako ang ako lang hilig, so sa ako lang ni, so I think mao nay kalahian nga akong gina-try ug achieve is not to write poem but to create a poem. So meaning dili siya more on writing lang.
So mauna siya to Dr. Lita Bacalia. So Adonis is trying to create poetry, not just write poetry. His poetry involves even visuals. He may also involve later music and or film in his poetry. So he wants also to write poetry that is humorous. Of course, we would see in our pre-colonial, if we would read the missionaries who studied really our arts and culture in the Visayas, we would know that the Visayans were really yagagaon, or they have this poetry that are like impromptu debate between a man and a woman, but this poetry that was impromptu was kind of, they were satirical, and they would point out the negative characteristics of their opponent in that poetry debate. But
Yeah.
it's like Balitao in the Spanish period. Balitao is a Spanish time poetry, but that's also sung. So, and then that's why the missionaries would say that the content of our poetry were all everything bad
Mhm.
and evil. So, so that
I
is
think I think nastoryahan man nato na, di ba, previously nga katong imong giingon nga bad. I think it's because nigamit man gud sila og humor, and mo na problema sa humor kay something nga, di ba, ang nature sa humor is kung incongruous siya, mas effective siya kung incongruous. So mo na nga ang mga effective nga humorous nga mga anything like skit or something na mga sexual innuendo, na mga kanang 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 sarcasm or kanang kuan siya, parody siya sa politician, mo na nga kanang powerful gyud kaayo or sakit kay paminaw ng humor.
Yes, and then, but then also the missionary, like Father Francisco Alcina, would say that after actually that performance of a poetry debate that is satirical, they
Mhm.
would all forget about, they would not have hard
Yes.
feelings about, they would not be hurt because
Mm.
it's just a performance for them, uh, showing off their skill in poetry. And Father Francisco Alcina would say he could not understand, decipher the metaphors and the complex vocabulary. Even if he has learned already the Visayan language for 5 years, he could not still understand the metaphors of the
Mm.
Visayan poets at that time. So Mona, I would say in my post yesterday that the netizens now would usually say, Bisaya ray makasabot. Only the Visayans would understand. So there are two more questions. So we have actually two more poems to read. So because Catherine is not here, we hope that just Dado would read the English translation of this. Di ka, si Kuan, dili sad ka? Ako lalagyan mo basa angin ya. Di ko ganahan mo basa sa English translation angin kantang hinubog. Sige na lang, ako na lang yun. Pero ganahan ka kana ikaw mo basa sa English translation kay this is the poem, there is the for the last poem that we would read today. Adonis would be reading it, and is it okay with you, just Dado, to read the English translation of Daygunta ang inodoro? Ihatag ko na sa iya, in praise of the toilet bowl. Asa gani ni Dons, naani siya sa Dayguntang Inodoro. Naani siya sa collection sa pahinungod sa dihing tundan, sa to whom it may not concern. So si just dada at ipabasa ani kay duha may akong basahon ron sunod kini mang kanang di ganahan nga poem ni Adonis. The poem that Adonis does not want is the one that I would read because he gets uncomfortable when I read kuno kay it's very scandalous when I read the poem. So so there are two more questions. So you would answer this, Dons, after I
Okay.
read this poem. So there are two more questions from Dr. Lita of CNU. And this is, unsay tan-aw nimo sa kaugmaon sa Cebuanong pamalak? What is the future for you? What is the future of the Cebuano poetry, especially in this digital world, and also because of this AI? Someone was telling me nga because in one of this book launch, one of one of the hosts of that book launch at the UP Cebu, he is Marcel, and he is from Panay, and he was saying, no, we're not threatened by AI. AI cannot write like Adonis Durado. And then someone else was telling me, actually you can command the AI, write like Adonis Durado. Right, like Adonis Durado. So you would answer this later. Another question is, what 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 advice can you give to the youth, especially to the students, to the learners in the senior high that are studying about 21st century literature, and they read the contemporary Cebuano writers like you, so that they can be encouraged to read and write, and to admire the Cebuano literature. So this is later. So before that, I would like to to read to you I would like to read to you this poem that Adonis doesn't like, which I like. The billionaire na si Adonis diha. So this is before I used to have props for this. I have tuba and also sikwati, which are available at Pamgrass, Kapihan ni Lumaya and Hardin Dagami. So this is Kantang Hinubog. So a drunken song. Ako ang tuba, ikaw ang sikwati. Kung ikaw ang manuba, ako ang masikwati. Ako ang tuba, ikaw ang sikwati. Bahal na ang akong tuba, ispisuha sa imong sikwati. Sige na, ako ang tuba, ikaw ang sikwati. Hubgon tikas tuba, laon ko ang imong sikwati. Ako'y tuba, ikay sikwati. Sus, isuga sa akong tuba. Pisti, tamisa sa sikwati. Kana, ona siya. So, kaya siya, it's a drunken song. So we would know also from history that the Visayans would always gather in a feast. Like they have meal times that would last from 4 to 5 hours. And when they invite someone to a feast, they wouldn't say nga, mga unta or let's eat, they would say, magtagay ta. And in those gatherings, they always sing, they chant, actually they chant their poetry or they sing their poetry. So those gatherings of drinking sessions, or eating sessions and drinking, they also dance and they sing and they chant their poetry in those gatherings. So this is a really something that is for those kinds of feasts. Ako ang tuba, ikaw ang sikwati. Sige na, ako ang tuba, ikaw ang sikwati. Hubgon tikas tuba, laon ko imong sikwati. So saon man ni pag English, ako I don't know how to have this in English, but I will try, and I haven't rehearsed this. Kinutil. So kinutil is actually a drink, tuba. It's based on the coconut wine mixed with sikwati or the native chocolate drink in the Visayas. So of course, napa na other ingredients nga unsa pa na, napa na mga orange, no?
Itlog.
So ha? Naapay
Itlog.
itlog, napay itlog, naapanay orange, itlog ngunoy orange. So kinutil, a drunken song. I am your coconut wine. You are my brewed cacao. If you harvest my sap, for sure I'd be fucked up. I am your coconut wine. You are my brewed cacao. My wine gets fermented. Your brew gets thickened. Come on, I'm your wine. You'd be my brewed cacao. Get drunk with my wine. I'll sip your brewed cacao. I'm the wine, you're the brew. Jeez, my wine is so strong. Best, how sweet your brew. Di ko kaibaw. Supposedly, duha ni sila dons, no? It should be a man and a woman answering each other. So there should be two. So the one who would say, ako ang tuba. So this is the man. Ikaw ang sikwati. So you are the cacao. So have you tried paglala og sikwati? We have sikwati here at Kapihan ni Lumaya. So that's the tuba, tuba, kantang hinubog. That is usually that is really following the tradition of Visayan poetry from pre-colonial times. It's witty, it's humorous, and it's bad and evil, depending on your understanding of how you comprehend that poem. If it is bad or evil, or it's just sipping cacao and drinking tuba. So there is we have a comment from our educator from Taguig City and Pateros, from Balanta Coleta, very romantic. So love poem gito. So Ferdy says, pagbati po Sir Adonis Durado. This is from Taguig City and Pateros. Agnes Cruz watching from Taguig City and Pateros National High School. And Ferdy Aparticio says, my fave si Kwati and Putumaya. From Pamgras, of course. Raul Buzon, a history graduate from USC, maayong udto Pamgras, now watching at home, taking a break. And Ferdy says, maraming salamat. Pamgras, the Cebu Heritage Hotel. It made our day with your Gigawsan episode. Thea Samson watching from SDO Tapat, Pateros. So we have this question from Lita Bacalya. May we show it again? So we can summarize the question about regarding what is the future of the Cebuano poetry. How can you encourage the learners, the young students of literature to admire and to read more about Cebuano poetry?
So ang sakoa siguro is medyo para sa ko kung tubagon ako na question medyo loaded siya. Wa gyud ko kibawag unsa ang mas sakto nga tubag ana. Pero siguro ang sakoa lang is to encourage the student to read and buy books sa mga local writers. Kay kanang syempre unlike gani sa unlike sa Manila nga naa sila publishing house, ang sa Cebu kasagaran ana nila is self-publish. So kanang the more nga mopalit mo sa ilahang libro, the more nga maka-benefit ka sa poet or sa writer nga maka-publish na pud siya sa sunod niya nga libro. So I think mao na siya paagi nga mas mas molahutay ba ang kanang concept of publication sa Cebu, kay wala man tay klaro gud nga publishing house sa Cebu, or dili lang sa Cebu bisag ganig sa Mindanao sad. Pero in fact murag bintaha bi ang uban nga region kay naa gid sila kanang ang ilahang independent publishing ba kay kuan gyud kanang murag na-develop gyud like sa Bicol or bisag sa Iloilo na ang kasing-kasing press sa Iloilo is kanang nagsigig produce og mga literary works, sigig publish. So mas bibo sila kaysa sa Cebu. Murag walay klaro nga independent publisher or walay mismo ang kanang mga university nato normally dito sa Bicol naa sila'y Ateneo Dinaga Press nga mo'y nag-publish sa mga kasagaran ng local writers. Pero diri sa Cebu dagko tag mga universities pero wala kay nahitabo. Di ba?
So Adonis, the Adonis invites the young writers or those interested in literature to really read and patronize the books of our Visayan or Cebuano authors so that they could also publish. So actually, Pamgras is also publishing the Tres de Abril Foundation and Tres de Abril Incorporated. It's publishing books, but we only choose which authors we publish. And I think USC Press is also publishing books a few years ago, but not as active now. I think Cebuano Study Center is also publishing, no? They are also still publishing books, but not as active. But Halad was publishing books in the past. I'm not sure now. So that's so now you stay tuned for the poem to be read by Adonis, and also for one trivia quest with exciting prize. It will be only one question, and our audience on site and online would answer through the comment section of this Facebook page. I don't know if Adonis would give a book a book as a prize. Maybe he would. Muhatag ka, Dons. Actually, our prize would be a hulum kawa. Did you know that our Alima native massage here is inspired by our traditional healing practices? And we knew that, of course, the chants, the prayers of the Babaylanes also were actually poetry. And we ask Adonis' help in finalizing the prayer of our therapist, our babaylanes at our Alima Native Massage. So, na, muhatag kag libro doon sa maka-answer sa trivia quest na to later.
Pwede.
Oh, pwede
Sa
ra,
may
pwede
mga tag nimo. Diha.
naman kining asay daghan pa. Short.
Mm.
Minugbo ang daghan. Kini mo yatag. Ang pahinungod ug ang asay mas mahal ani. Pahinungod do mas ha? So ang atong ihatag ang minugbo. I mean ang dili tanang matagak mahagbong mo panidaghan pa og copy. So na may copy sila. Both okay ra mo? Kung in kaso so kini siya, you will win sani? Dili tanang matagak mahagbong for the trivia quiz later. Only one question. So this is now, we still have a question from 𝗪𝗐𝗐 Ferdinand Pagao of Taguig City and Pateros. After this poetry reading, Basa Balak by Adonis Durado of this poem that he chose. And this is in the poetry collection, Pahinungod sa Di Hingtungdan, to whom it may not concern. So this is now the last poem that we will read this morning, tonight at Adonis time, and this morning at Cebu time. So this is the poem. The title is Daygunta ang Inodoro.
Okay, so before nako basahon na nga balak kanang muhatag lang ko og gamay nga background. So kanang before nako nasuwat kanang nakabasa ko sa mga kanang balak ni Neruda iyang mga odes. So odes to artichoke, so mga butang ba. So sa ko ang bahin murag nangita ko paagi nga makasuwat baka ko og kanang ode nga kanang para sa usa ka butang, pero ma-infuse na ko ang humor. So kani siya nga balak mo ni ang resulta. So ang title is Daygunta ang Inodoro. Wala na'y mas halangdon pa kaysa sa uyamot nga inodoro. Sumbunganan, kumpisalanan sa pinuggang mga sikreto. Hungawanan, habwaanan sa gikalibangang pagbati. Kinidunggan nga mamati kanunay sa tawhanong tawag sa panginahanglan. Ang trono sa kadungganan, sa hari ug sa mga timawa, sa Santo Papa ug sa Iheres, sa pilosopo ug sa way tahor, sa terorista ug sa general, way paltos kining musapupo sa di kahilisag pagtuo, sa nagkaigit-igit sa suliran, sa gipangtubol sa konsensya, busa, tinahod kong mga higala, idalit ta ang sa balaang inodoro ang kinahugtan tang utong.
Yay! In praise of the toilet bowl, an ode to the toilet bowl.
Aha.
Alang sa title to? Sa ganito Bisaya sa title sa Bisaya.
Daygunta ang inodoro.
Daygunta ang inodoro. Oh. So daghang salamat Adonis for reading that beautiful and brown poem. Beautiful and brown poem for us. And so this is now the English translation and to be read to us by Diosdado.
In praise of the toilet bowl. Nothing is more honorable than the lowly toilet bowl. A confidant, a confessional of suppressed secrets, a blowhole, a receptacle for crapped up feelings. It's an ear that listens, constantly answering the urgent call of nature. It's the throne of glory of king and pauper, of pope and heretic, of philosopher and idiot, of terrorist in general. It fails not to prop up those with an indigestion of faith, a loose bowel of problems, a constipated conscience. And so, esteemed friend, offer before the holy potty our mightiest urge to push.
Yay, utong good. Congratulations,
Salamat.
Diosdado. Thank you very much. Maayo kay mo basa
Ayo.
og balak si
Na
Kwan.
kay na kay Agripina na kay angay kontakon kung kinsay pabasahon nimo diha.
Basta mag-point reading ato. Who are you gonna call? Tama sa taga si Enyo yun din. Matawgo yun atos Diosdado basta natin pabasahon og balak. So, to whom it may not concern, so si Ferdinand Bagaw Aparticio wants to buy uh, a book to whom it may not concern, one copy. So also Fe Balanta Coleta from Taguig City and Pateros gives an applause for this poem in praise of the toilet bowl. so so now we have this question, the last question from our online audience. You may also ask a question if you want. So, ikaw sa Diosdado, wala na kay question na nahurot na imong pangutana after reading all those poems. So, we have this question from Ferdinand Pagao, Supervisor on Social Studies of DepEd Taguig City and Pateros. What are the organizations of the literary geniuses of the Visayas and Mindanao, and how do they compare with their counterparts in Luzon?
Okay, I'm not really familiar sa sa Manila nga scene, but although kibaw ko nga naa na sila yung mga organizations like Lira or uban pang I think it's more um, university based, murag kung taga Ateneo ka mo na imuhang grupo, kung taga UP ka mo na imong grupo. But here in Kuan in Cebu, or I think bisad siguro sa uban nga part, pero I can only talk about Cebu. Naay mga organizations sa mga kanang beyond university. Of course naasad like kung sa UP, di ba murag naa sila tinta nga organization. Pero ang Bathalad is an organization gyud nga kanang encompassing. So historically ang Bathalad is an organization of kanang murag male dominated nga mga writers sa Cebu, pero karo sa mo nga time na usab na siya kay diha nami nga nanay mga pundok sa mga babae nga na appeal na namo. Like for example sa ako ang batch diha naman ni kuyog sa mga sila si Cora Almirino, nya napatoy uban nga mga writers like si Dolores Sales nga dili lang gid siya puro laki ra. Ang sa Cebu sad naa sa organization nga gitawag og WILA, which is Women in Literary Arts, and that's the only female organization sa entire Philippines nga organization sa mga kanang babae. So I think mo na ang duha ka dagko nga mga kanang literary groups sa Cebu. Sa akong hibaw-an, basig karon na nay bag-o na pod. Kay you cannot consider kanang Ludabi or unsa pa na uban as a literary organization. They are more of kanang murag language kanang murag pag-protect sa language, siguro mo na ang ilang klase sa organization ang Ludabi. Pero nasa mga writers, literary writers diha. So in short, mo na yung mga two main organizations diri sa Cebu.
So daghang salamat, Adonis. So Adonis was saying to answering the question of Ferdinand Pagao for the Aparticio of Taguig City and Pateros, that we have this encompassing broad organization of literary writers in Cebu, the Bathalad, and also the Women in Literary Arts. And the Women in Literary Arts in Cebu is the only organization of women writers or women literary writers in the Philippines. So we don't know yet of any other writers, women poet or literary writers in the Philippines. So we are actually inviting them next week for our Babay sa Balak event. So we have seen that Carla Kim Sing, one of our panelists in future event, would be one of our panelists also, because she has written a thesis on a paper on the Babay sa Balak, and she will be one of our panelists. She's a woman, and she was a former president of Bathalad. So we have seen the truth that this organization of literary writers of Bathalad has has gotten out of being male dominated, because it's one of the former presidents is a woman, Carla Kimseng. So now this is now the trivia quiz with exciting prize. Asa na to si Kuan? Dili na to ka-appeal si nag-CR pa si Justado. So ato hulaton or dila alam mo siya kung ano, he has already a it's our book. So we will wait for Justado. Maybe he can join. So for all of you, so we would like you to know that the
Kanang pwede nga kanang tagaan lang og kanang complimentary copy si Diosdado or
sige.
i-charge lang sa kuha.
Congratulations to Justado for reading well the poems of Adonis, and he gets a complimentary copy of a book of his choice of any of Adonis books. So congratulations to Justado. Nag-CR pa siya in praise of the inodoro actually. After he read in praise of the toilet bowl, he went to the toilet bowl to give praise to it literally. So Justado, because you read nana siya. So because you read very well the poems, you gave justice to the poems of Adonis. Adonis is giving you one free copy of any of his poetry books here, collection. Congratulations. So dalipay ug maayo si Justado. May gid nang mudaig ka sa inodoro after nagdaig ka sa inodoro. The inodoro, the toilet bowl heard your prayers, and when you came back, you got a free copy of the book by Adonis. So everyone, it's very good. It's very effective to pray to the inodoro. So so now we have this question for ma-forfeit na ning kuan mo, forfeit na si Justado ani nga question. So dili na siya qualified kay he gets a free copy of Adonis book. So this is the question for our everyone, and you answer this through the comment section of this Facebook Live event at Palmgrass the Cebu Heritage Hotel page. So some may be following maybe at Adonis Durado's page. Is this showing at Adonis page? Or can you also look at the comment section, or can we see everything? No, we can still see it here. Can you see the if there are audience, if na audience at Adonis page who would give a comment? So this is now the question, and the prize for this is a kawa bath with orasyon. And this orasyon is a poem that is finalized by Adonis Durado. When you get the kawa bath at Palmgrass the Cebu Heritage Hotel, you get a so this is a flower hulum kawa buwak a flower kawa bath. We also have tinua kawa bath, which is made with ginger, sea salt, and lemongrass tanglad. So this is now the question. Give the title of the first and last poetry collection, or the first and fifth book of poetry or poetry collection of Adonis Durado. What are the titles of the first and last? Can you check the Adonis page if there is someone who would answer in the page of Adonis? Yes. So what is what are the titles of the first and last poetry collection of Adonis? So this is si Justado says, thank you so much, Sir Adonis from Justado Surigao. And wala pa ni answer sa question. So I would look at so I forgot to look at the page actually of Adonis while we have this live event. So wala na ni answer. Lisod kaayo. Ilisa na to ang question. So we have this. So we have the. Do we have an answer? Pwede ra kang answer. See, how about our audience here? You can also answer. So we have. Do you have? So we have this. We have this. I would like to read the comments, Adonis, from your page. David Lau says, wow. Danny Patalinghog says, proud of you, Sir Adonis Durado. And Rinel Sarencio says, ha ha ha. Of course, the Risita is watching with us right now. Neneng is watching. Wala ni answer. Pwede ra mo answer if you want. Duha na ka mo libro. Si Kuan, wala ni answer. What is? Usa na lang, sige. One question, usa na lang. So what is the title of either the last poetry collection of Adonis, or name one na lang, sige. Nanay ni answer? Name one. Name a title of a wala na, naka-answer na si Ferdy Aparticio. Ibig palit siya, nakadaog na siya. So Ferdy, so he gives the naana sad si Coleta. Not all that drops fall. So this is from Taguig City and Pateros. Daghang salamat. Thank you very much to our avid viewers from the Taguig City, the teachers and supervisors of Taguig City and Pateros. So Balanta Coleta answered correctly the English translation of Dili Tanang Matagak Mahagbong, to whom it may not concern. So the first, not all that drops fall, from Coleta. Is Cebuan, Visaya, or really Tagalog? So I remember there's a teacher in Taguig City and Patero, so comes from the Visayas. So Ferdy Aparticio says, to whom it may not concern. So na-late si Nian Rose Gordario. Thank you very much for joining us. And we read the Pansit Poetry, and we also read your question for Adonis. So dili tanang mahatagak mahagbong ang nakayatak kay nayatakan. Congratulations to Nian. But the first one to answer is because we changed the mechanics. We said only one na lang. Either the first or any title of the book by Adonis. So, of course, Liberata says number one balak. For her, the number one balak is race to the toilet bowl. We will pick it up for Ma'am Coleta. So Balanta Coleta is Bicolana. So you would now learn the Cebuano language by having this free complimentary book from our multi-awarded poet, Adonis Durado. There is a Cebuano version, the original Cebuano poem, and we have the English translation. So happy reading of this barbarous book by Adonis Durado, the evil book that is trying to be socially conscious. And then so we would like to invite you once again next week for our Babay sa Balak with our women poets in Cebu. We will also have on September 9. Naughan, if today Gigawsan mo, maughan mo on September 9. We will trace the lost waterways in Cebu. And on September 22, we will tackle the pre-colonial warfare of the indigenous peoples right now, and also of pre-colonial Visayas. So now we would like to have the last, if Adonis want to say his closing words this morning, and tonight there in Ohio.
Yeah, kuan mubo ra mangay lang kog kanang mangay kog pasalamat sa tanan nga ni Tambong, ug ikaduha kanang nakoy umaabot nga collection sa UP Press, ang title kay Tabyog sa 𝗋𝙗𝗀𝗋𝙗 or A Swinging Without End. So mo nay libro nga umaabot nako nga i-publish sa UP Press. So I think I'm sure ang Palmgrass na siguro event na po na tanaw na to. So
So,
salamat.
dahil salamat, Adonis. So it is a fun and exciting morning for all of us, learning and also comprehending the Visayan metaphors, Cebuano metaphors that Europeans in the past could not comprehend until even maybe until today. So thank you for having a fun and exciting morning with us, and see you again in our next event. Thank you to our partners, Tres de Abril Foundation, ArtCebu, and so on 2020. Daghang salamat ug maayong udto sa tanan.